So Easter Monday in the Championship did not disappoint. In today's video we're going to be going over all of the main talking points, digesting each of the matches, and as always want to get your takes on everything going on in the comments down below. Getting really close now, especially around the top 6 picture. The relegation picture continues to develop as well, and I for one can't wait for this climax of the season. So without any further ado, let's jump in. There's no doubt that Blackburn are on a slide right now, but how big could that point be come the end of the season? It was Huddersfield who were coming into this one as the form team and started it like an absolute house on fire. Set piece situations they've been strong from all season as they were last time. Quite poor from Blackburn in that first goal, but the second goal really speaks to how much Huddersfield have actually improved in terms of their interplay and getting up through the gears. I've had a feeling that Warnock probably sent that Huddersfield squad out for the second half with the instructions of nullifying Blackburn's threats, looking to make it difficult for them and cagey, but what maybe made it a bit more difficult for them was the fact that Blackburn got that goal almost instantly after coming out for the second half, and then the second 45 minutes was just a bombardment of chances from Rovers. And I mean, it seemed like it might have been heading towards one of those afternoons where it just wasn't going to click for Blackburn, no matter how much of the ball and how many chances they had, because there were so many near misses. Breton Diaz especially got into some brilliant areas, but just nothing was falling for him. In the end, it was Hedges getting on the end of a second chance to make it 2-2 and rescuing the point, which was definitely a deserved point for Blackburn in the end. But the games that they've been dropping points in recently were all the matches that we all thought, okay, they'll pick up their points there to give themselves a bit of a cushion for the end into the season. Because, I mean, still to come for Rovers, they've got games against Coventry, Preston, Burnley, Luton and Millwall. There's no easy games from here on out. Generally speaking, Birmingham have been on a decent run of form recently, and another solid point in this one, finishing goalless against a fairly informed Stoke side. Ultimately, the quality in the final third just wasn't really there for either side. Just 3 shots on target between both sides. Stoke having more of the ball, but ultimately not really been able to craft out that many clear-cut opportunities. For Birmingham, that's now 50 points for the season. I'm sure that would have been the aim before a ball had been kicked, and so two sides who are just sort of meandering towards a bit of a mid-table finish right now. And Cardiff are left tantalisingly close to the bottom 3 after losing against Sunderland. Thought they might have been able to generate a bit of momentum on the back of that Blackpool performance, but it really just seemed like they reverted to type in this one. First half was really all about Sunderland having the better of this one, slowly chipping away at Cardiff, but the two sides went in goalless. Second half not quite as dominant, but they finally got their breakthrough. Disappointing way to come about from a Cardiff perspective. The Alex Pritchard free kick goes against the post, and it's a Sunderland player to react first, and that was enough to seal up all 3 points in the end. In terms of the bottom 3 picture right now, it leaves Cardiff just 1 point above Reading, and I mean, things are ridiculously close in there. Both QPR and Huddersfield and Rotherham on top of that, all picking up points as well, which doesn't exactly help out Cardiff's case. In terms of Sunderland, they're just about keeping themselves in touching distance of the playoff race. That's only Sunderland's second win in their last 10 Championship matches, believe it or not, but a lot of results above Sunderland going their way on Monday. It leaves them just 4 points off the playoffs, and with 5 games to go, there's everything still to play for. Coventry playing out a 2-2 draw with Watford. That's now no wins from their last 3, but Coventry still very much in the playoff picture. Like we were saying before when discussing Sunderland, a lot of results above them going their way this weekend, which does keep them in it. But if they are going to make up that ground on the teams above them, they need to return to winning ways. And ultimately, the first 50 or so minutes of this one weren't quite at their usual standards. To be honest, being 2-0 down at half-time was maybe a little bit harsh. Watford had done quite well to hit Coventry on transitions as they'd struggled to break them down. Joao Pedro, a reminder of how clinical he can be, and Loser with a nice finish as well. That Matty Godden goal sort of sparked Coventry back into life though, and from that point onwards it was all about them going forward, and then Ben Sheaf with the equaliser. State of play in and around the top 6, Coventry 9th at the moment on 59 points, just 3 points behind Blackburn in 6th place. Hull against Millwall, how costly could that defeat be to Millwall's top 6 hopes? It's allowed my side Preston to catch up to them. We're now level on points with Millwall, with a game coming up at the weekend at the Den, Millwall versus Preston, which is set up to be an absolute cracker. In terms of this match, it was a little bit all too reminiscent of Millwall's recent encounter with Huddersfield, where it was Millwall who had more of the chances, probably the better chances on that as well, but Carl Darlow had an absolute worldie in net for Hull. He was level to absolutely everything their away side were throwing at him, and to be fair to Traore, that was some goal, a goal worth winning any football match. And Hull, while they don't necessarily have anything to play for right now, I think will be a tricky side to those remaining teams who they play for the remainder of the season, because Rossini is clearly building upon something with the thought process of taking this squad further into next season, and Millwall right now coming back since the international break without a win. Then to Luton against Blackpool, 3-1 to the home side in the end. To be honest, I think that Blackpool made a little bit more of this game than I originally thought they might. Obviously, between me recording my predictions and this game taking place, Mick McCarthy did depart Blackpool, and I think that may give them a little bit of a lift for the rest of the season, to be honest. Whatever Mick McCarthy was drilling into those players clearly had the adverse effect, and actually taking the lead in this one through Andy Lyons. Eventually, Luton's quality did tell, and Panzu with the equaliser just before half-time, before Morris and he added the second and third goals. And to be honest, looking at Luton's running for the remainder of the season, they've got 2 away games next up against Rotherham and Reading. I think there's every chance they take 6 points from those 2 games before they then return to Kenilworth Road with a real crunch match against Middlesbrough. So things setting up quite nicely, I'd suggest, for Luton right now, and an expected 3 points there against Blackpool. Next then to Carrow Road for a goalless draw between Norwich and Rotherham, and once again, how many times have we said missed opportunity for Norwich, and this feels like another one of those. They're still within touching distance of the top 6. 1 point separates them from Millwall, Blackburn and Preston, who are that cluster of sides on 62 points at the moment. But Norwich having 21 shots in this game, just 4 of them on target. Rotherham came with a game plan and saw it out pretty much to perfection. We've seen them with those battling away performances before, where they do soak up a lot of pressure and frustrate the opposition. At times that can have the adverse effect, but thought they defended really well, were well set in their shape for this one. And also considering it was Josh Vickers who had to be thrown in net, considering the injury to Johansson, his first league start of this season, and with a top performance in the end, assured between the sticks, and ultimately the frustration of Norwich. Goalless in the end, they're still very much in the hunt, but it just feels like over these last couple of months there's been so many of those missed opportunities, and how many more will there be in this final run of matches for Norwich? And I've just about caught my breath from Preston 2, Reading 1. What a spectacle in the end, a 92nd minute Brad Potts winner, and thoroughly deserved in the end, I have to say. This game was all about Preston going forward. Reading came with the game plan to frustrate us, sit in, look to snatch a point, and they very nearly did that, to be fair. It took Preston until the 56th minute to break Reading down. Fantastic team move, great link up between Fernandez and Onuma on that left hand side before feeding the ball into Tom Cannon, who just can't stop scoring at the moment. Reading then grabbed that equaliser against the run of play, and suddenly everyone in Deepdale is fearing the worst, but in the end the ball was just sucked into the back of the net. The pressure we were putting Reading under in those final 10 minutes. Brad Potts coming up with that 92nd minute winner to really raise the roof at Deepdale. The atmosphere there in the final 10 minutes at full time was just absolutely spectacular. And it has to be said that this North End side are the form team in the Championship right now. It does have to be said that our fixtures over this good run of form that we've had recently has definitely favoured us. You know, we played a lot of the sides down near the bottom of the Championship, and there will be sterner tests to come right now. But the fact we're 7th in the Championship, level on points with Millwall, as we head to the Den this weekend to play them, everything's set up for a fantastic end to the season. And I mean, I'm just absolutely buzzing that we are now well in contention for the top 6. In terms of the overall performance, I thought it was some of the best stuff Preston have played all season. Daniel Johnson absolutely running the show, along with Ben Whiteman in midfield. In terms of Reading, I'd be quite worried on the back of that performance, really. In terms of quality, very little to show from it, and I think they would have been, really quite lucky had they walked away with a point from that one. They do remain in the bottom 3, and not great news for them, the fact that the likes of QPR, Huddersfield and Rotherham all picked up points this week. And West Brom dropping points again. This result against QPR means it's now just 3 wins from their last 11 Championship matches. Not in sparkling form by any means, but because no side above them so far has been able to put together a consistent run of results, they are still in the playoff hunt, but I mean, to throw a 2-goal lead away against this QPR side is criminal at the moment, especially for a side going for the top 6. To be honest, West Brom were massively fortunate to be 2 goals up after 13 minutes. The first goal clearly should have been chalked off for handball for Thomas Asante, but the officials didn't spot that one, and from that point I think everyone is expecting this QPR side to fall in on itself, as they have done for pretty much every match recently. They don't do that though. Lyndon Dykes gets them back into the game, and at half-time at 2-1, suddenly there's a little bit more jeopardy about the game. Having seen a few tweets and things like that, seemed like the West Brom crowd especially had a few more sort of nerves about them, and in the second half it's a free goal to get QPR back into it, but you take every bit of fortune you'll get at the moment. Griffiths with a little bit of a nightmare to allow Martin to get on the score sheet, making it 2-2, and that point come the end of the season could be vital for this QPR side, because a few weeks ago we were looking at their remaining fixtures and struggling to see where any points whatsoever were going to come from. So the fact that both Cardiff and Reading lost this weekend, they pick up a point away at West Brom, where, let's face it, no one expected them to get anything, has to be seen as a positive, but the point tally that QPR are on right now will not be enough to keep them up, and they need to build on this, and we've seen them fail to do that in the past. So good point, all things considered, for QPR. More frustration for West Brom. Swansea 2, Wigan 0. The away side had it all too easy in this one, really, finding themselves 2-0 up after around 30 minutes. 2 fine finishes from Joel Perreault, each off the left foot, and in the end it seemed to become a little bit of a training drill, really, with Swansea knocking the ball about, having some nice passages of play. And to be honest, this Swansea side have been in decent form recently. I think that's now 3 wins from their last 4 matches, which makes me as a North End fan a little bit worried with a game against Swansea soon to come. But ultimately looked like a side in Swansea who are happy playing some sort of free-flowing stuff with not much pressure on them right now against a Wigan side who look destined for League One, if we're honest. Bristol City against Middlesbrough was thoroughly entertaining in the end, finishing as a 2-2 draw. Bell giving Bristol City the lead just before half-time, Cornick with the second just after the break. A little bit of sloppy defending from this Middlesbrough side, who have been susceptible to conceding an easy chance or two recently. I think that's now just 1 clean sheet Middlesbrough have kept in their last 6 championship matches, and that is an area of vulnerability which has crept into their game recently. Certainly something that they'll need to iron out over these next few weeks as we head into this climax of this championship season. From 2-0 down, Middlesbrough do battle back into it, and it is Ramsey who's central to the goals. First of all, scoring their first one, then setting up the second for Crooks with a fine finish to make it 2-2. Going into this game, I think Middlesbrough, anything less than 3 points would have been a bit disappointed, but to have been 2 goals down and to have fought back into it does show the spirit in that side. But like I said, vulnerability from a few defensive positions at the moment. For Bristol City, decent result, all things around, albeit disappointed to give away the 2-goal lead. And I think they'll be a tricky side to play against with not much at stake there. They can sort of play with a little bit of freedom now. And then to finish things off at Turf Moor, it was Burnley who were in celebratory mood with a 2-0 win over Sheffield United. Their homecoming after the promotion was confirmed, and to be honest, this game was sort of ruined by that early red card. It was only a matter of time before Burnley were going to go on and kill this game off. It was a total mix-up at the back between Robinson and Fotheringham. In the end, the goalkeeper tripping over Teller and being sent off, and down to 10 men against this Burnley side. Yeah, like I said, it was only going to be a matter of time before Burnley did take the lead. Came in the second half through Goodmanson. He soon made it 2 after that. Adam Davis, the standing goalkeeper, caught out by the cross in the second goal, and Goodmanson smashing it in to make it 2 for Burnley. And in the end, wasn't that much of a head-to-head clash of the Titans spectacle that maybe this game was billed up as due to that red card. In terms of Sheffield United, all is not lost before they do have that FA Cup semi-final against Manchester City. They've got back-to-back championship home games against Cardiff and Bristol City. I think back-to-back wins in those 2 games, and they'll be looking really healthy to go ahead and secure that second place spot. So yeah, still got work to do, Sheffield United, but I felt like this game coming into it was always going to be a bit of a free hit, to be honest, and the bigger games are still to come for the Blades. Well guys, there we have it. That will wrap it up for today's video. The Easter weekend did not disappoint. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you did go on to enjoy, make sure to leave a like and do stick around and subscribe for some regular championship content. But for that guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.